The trap move was not what we expected. Let me break it down for you and show you what happened. What is up, gang? It is I, Carlton Flowers, your crypto pro.
Yay!
And I'm back again after a very, very busy week since that last update video that had me scratching my head. So in the last video, we were looking at very bearish conditions with the market looking like it was going to tip over and go straight to the basement. Everything was pointing that way. And then what happened took us by surprise. So I'm going to pull up the chart, and I just want to show you what happened and explain why the trap was not what I thought it was, but it was something certainly different once the opportunity presented itself to the market makers, to the institutions, not institutions, the exchanges that offer leveraged trading. All right, so let's get rid of my handsome face, and here we are on the Bitcoin 4-hour chart. Now, let's jump in, and we were right about here, just at the crux of this movement when I made that last video. So at the time, the cutoff was right about here. So the stochastic was going down. The MACD was looking like it was going to curl over. Let's see if we just project this on down like this. The histogram on the MACD was already moving down, yet the oscillators had not yet made their move. So all of the indications that we had was that the price was going to go down. And the reason why I really thought it was is because everything across the board was making this same movement right here. But I did mention that we could have a double humped camel. That's what I like to call this, when it looks like the stochastic is done and it's about to cycle down, and then it takes another bump up. So that's exactly what happened. When we got to this point where everyone was saying the same thing across the board, that the market was going to dump, this is when I noticed videos popping up telling people to play a short position. If you don't know what that means that instead of betting on the price of a stock or a crypto to go up from a certain point where you're going to buy in at, say, 50,000 or 48,000 and then sell it when it hits somewhere up here and you take a profit, you are betting that the crypto is going to go down. And so when you do a short position, you say, hey, I want to purchase Bitcoin, but I don't have to pay for it until later. I want the rights to own Bitcoin at a certain price without paying for it. So the way that a short position works is you enter the short here. Let's see if it's exactly $50,000 to make it simple. And then let's say the price dumps down to $40,000, from 50,000 to 40,000. Once it hits 40,000, you can sell your short position and you would make that 10,000 gain from 50 down to 40,000, just as you would in a regular position of buying at 50 and selling at 60. So you're going to say, I want the rights to purchase Bitcoin in the future at a lower price at this amount. So I buy 1/10 of a Bitcoin and I'm thinking it's going to go to 40,000. So I enter a short position. So that means I have the right to buy it when it hits 40,000, but I'm locked in at the current price of 50. So then I'm buying this $50,000 Bitcoin that I'm borrowing at the moment, but I'm paying 40,000 with it, or selling it rather, because you're buying the rights to it. So you don't own it and you're selling something that you don't own. So then once it hits the target down here at whatever this price is, then you can sell it, but you get to keep the difference between the previous price and where it is right now. So you would have made a profit of 10,000 going from 50 down to 40. Now, whenever you do this, if the price goes the wrong way, you can get liquidated. So let's say price moves up instead of down. Once it moves a certain percentage up, like 10% or 20% or 30%, you start to get margin calls. In other words, they're going to make you pay for a portion of that trade that you got on your borrowed account. You're basically borrowing when you do leverage trading. They're letting you have something without paying for it. So if the price moved the wrong way, well, you're going to have to kick in some cash to secure that and to be able to keep it. If it keeps moving up, you're going to have to pay for another chunk of it. If it keeps moving up again, you got to pay for another chunk of it. When it's going down, you're in the green. When it's going up, you're in the red. It's the backward situation. It's kind of hard to conceive in your mind, but that's what's happening here. So here we are at this point right here where everyone was saying, Carl from the Moon and MM Crypto, everybody was saying, enter a short position right now because Bitcoin is about to go down. So everyone jumps in and they use leverage trading where instead of, say, buying one Bitcoin at, say, 50,000, you can get one Bitcoin and spend a tenth less or 90% less, and you can buy that for 5,000. That's 10x leverage. So you only have to pay for that one Bitcoin by putting down 10% of the money. And that's either way, going up or going down. So if you're on leverage and then the price goes the wrong way, you're going to get a massive margin call. So as the price was supposed to go this way, then the trading exchanges saw the opportunity where they could make a massive windfall amount of money by driving price the opposite direction. So while everybody was betting on it to go down, we saw this red candle come out of nowhere, and it went against the grain of what the stochastic was telling us, against the grain of what the MACD was telling us, and it just busted a complete reverse move. See how the price is trending down and all of a sudden it just goes straight up out of nowhere? That's artificial. So when this gets shot up here, everybody who had leveraged trades down here, they all got liquidated. They got margin calls. So they had to cover for those failing margin calls that they pulled at leverage. So it wasn't that you just say, get it at 1x leverage or you're getting one Bitcoin and betting on it going down. No, they're getting it on 10x and even 100x leverage. At 100x, that means you could buy a Bitcoin for $500 because you were dividing it by 100. So then you have the right to buy it for $500 a full Bitcoin. And when it goes up, you can sell it. But if it goes down, you're going to get a margin call. And when you do, you're going to get 100 times that margin call because you are on leverage like an idiot. So when this happened, price went up. And all of the sudden, this is how much money I believe was reported to have been made by the exchanges right there, $6 billion. Okay, so that's what happened, and that's what turned this whole thing backwards from what it looked like it was going to do because it was a money-making opportunity. So it indeed was a trap, but it wasn't the trap that I thought. I thought that they were tricking us into thinking it was going to make it, but we all figured out it would go down, and it did just the opposite. They did trick us into thinking across the board it's going down, and they pumped it up, liquidated those shorts, and made $6 billion. All right, so let's look at the overall and see, oops, I think I need to swat that harder. There we go, I got it. Let's look at the overall and just see where we're going because this is a confusing chart. And I can say right now that I don't know what's going to happen. This is 50-50. A few things that I do observe is this. It looks like we're right here at this point of control price, 54,800, and we're oscillating around that point of control. In other words, we're just wobbling up and down, and I don't know where this is going to end. So we go up, down, down, sideband, up, down, cross the line again, down, up, and now we're headed down again. So where are we headed? I don't know. We could end up back at the point of control, or we could continue to trend up. We had this downward trending trading channel, and it got broken, and now we have a new one that has been established by more higher lows. So here was the low, right? And here's the first higher low. Here's the second higher low. Here's the third higher low. And the same thing with the higher highs. There's one there, and then it failed a couple times, but then we had another strong one here, another one here, another one here. So that means we're in a different trading channel that is looking something like this. So until we break this one, we know that this is what we can expect for price to move around in here. And then the minute that we violate the bottom of this line here, then I would say, okay, we might be swinging downward again. But overall, it just looks to me like Bitcoin is sidebanding. We're messing around in a chop zone. And so as long as we've got just this crazy chop action up and down, the alts can fly. This is where alt season can come in and they can go bananas because Bitcoin is not able to make a decision on which way it wants to go. So right now we see the stochastic tipped into overbought and it's headed downward, which says this cycle could complete, but it could jump up again and pivot. We see the MACD right now. It's looking like it was on an overall upward trend. It kept making these peaks, but now this peak is lower. So the trajectory could be coming down. And then we also notice that the histogram is getting smaller. We had this hump here, this negative here, then this hump was smaller, then this one is smaller, so on and so forth. So it looks like we're getting diminishing returns here where this action is winding down towards that zero line. And sometimes when you get to that zero line, something big can happen. So we'll have to keep our eyes on that. So that is the situation right now with Bitcoin. And what are your thoughts? Do you think Bitcoin is going to correct? I still think we've got another correction due sometime between now and the middle of June before we ramp up into the hyperbolic stage where everything goes bananas. I think we're going to have another strong dip, but I'd sure like to hear what your thoughts are. Let me know in the comments below. Let's chat about it. And until then, this is definitely not financial advice. Never take anything I say to make a trading decision. Bitcoin will do its own thing, as you can see. Let this be an example. We don't know what can happen because this market is small enough that it can be highly manipulated by the institutional traders and the market makers. All right, that's it, man. Peace out.